some soloing. I had some requests for some electric. Bring the electric back, which I freaking love. So, to kind of help us, you know, speed along this path, there's a soloing link down below, and it's going to really make sense of the concepts I'm going to describe in this particular video. So check that out. It's going to be like the prep course, the 101 course for what we're going to do. They're the same notes, they're just in a different spot on the fretboard, or the scales look the same, I should say. Different notes. But once you know a pentatonic position, it's just moving it around on the fretboard, and it follows those same shapes, just in a different spot of the neck. So what I do is I work out of a minor pentatonic. In this case, it's E minor, position 1. Right? You may be familiar with that. But what I do is I hyperimpose E major, which is down here. So if you're at minor, E minor, go down 3 frets, and you would be at E major. Same position 1. And you'll have E major. So what happens is when you're doing position 1 of E minor, position 2 of E major is located right inside that scale. Okay, so when that happens, you get position 1, and then you get, and that's a minor, and you get position 2 of major. Inside it. Now, also inside position 1 of E minor, you have the E major chord. Like I said, it's all said down below in that link, so check that out. But this is just a real quick review, so it makes sense. If you haven't seen the link down below, it'll make sense what I'm doing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take notes, and I started hearing stuff like this when I would listen to players like Gilmour and Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eddie Van Halen and all these guys. I'm like, okay, I get that there's a pentatonic scale, but there's notes that they're playing that aren't in my minor pentatonic scale. What are those notes? Eric Clapton too, and Angus, all these great players, they seem to have access to these notes that weren't in the scale that I was using, and it drove me freaking crazy. So, I found out that's what they're doing. They're mixing major and minor together. So they have all these extra notes. Now, we're going to do that right here. We're going to work out of E minor, position 1, but I'm going to put E major notes inside of that. So, it's going to get something like this. Okay, now what happened was I took an E minor scale and I basically put the E major chord inside of that. So what I did was I started here at the root, the E note, right? We got our E major scale or chord right here. So I'm going to borrow some of those notes. So what I did was I took out of the E minor scale. The first 2 notes are right out of the E minor. So it's 14, D, 12, G. And then I hammer on to the major third. That's the note that makes the chord a major chord. If it was right here, the note we hit previously, it would be a minor chord. This note makes it major. Okay, so I went. Now I'm going to go back to E. Both major and minor share this note. Now I'm going to go to the 14th. Now that is an E major position 2 note. So I got, so that's on the B string, 12 and 14. And I'm going to bend that up a half step. So it basically sounds like the 15th fret. Now I'm going to grab another note out of E major, which is the 14th fret E, and grab that note while this note is bent. So we got. And then I'm going to release the bend and pull off to the 12th fret. So we got. Now I'm going to go back to the major and minor third. And then skip over a string and catch the E note on the 12th fret of the high E string. And then I'm going to bend that 14th fret E up like I'm going to make it a whole step, but it doesn't need to get there, right? Because it's a real quick kind of hit and release. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to do something similar. And I'm going to pull it back into minor a little bit more. I'm going to come in the same way. So I'm going to go up, hit it again, release, pull off, and then pull off again. I'm going to go G, 12 to 13, skip down to the high E, 12, B, 12, and then I'm going to bend up the 15th fret of the B. Now that is an E minor note, basically, or out of the E minor scale, that 15th fret of the B, but I'm bending that note into an E major chord right there. This note is shared by both major and minor. Okay, so we got okay, now we're going to go back to what we did in the first one. And now we can go right, and then so now I'm going to go down to other positions, which are going to be the E minor, position 4. Okay, and I'm going to hyperimpose major notes again upon that scale. So we got, so I'm going to bend up the 10th fret B, pull off to the 8th fret, G9, B10, G9, and then hammer on B8 to 9. Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to slide from position 4 to position 3 in E minor. Okay, so I went 9 to 7 on the G. So I got, and I slide from 9 to 7, pull off to 5, back to 7, and then I catch 7G, back to 5D. And then I'm going to go. So what I did there is I rolled my finger over on the 7th fret of the A to the E. Then I come back and I catch the D note on the A string, 5th fret, E note, and then I slide up to the 11th fret and then catch the root note of the E note right here on the G. So we're always coming back to the E note because we're basically soloing over something and be like, kind of a southern rock feel or whatever. So we want to keep resolving to that E. So we're come back to our chords. So all together we got. And then you basically would go into, you know, whatever, you're down with your solo or whatever. But what we're doing is we're taking the minor scale, which I think most of us are probably more familiar with than the major, and we're putting those major notes in there. So remember, if you are in position 1 of E minor, the position of major will be 1 degree up from that. So it would be, if you're in position 1 of E minor, position 2 of E major will be inside that. Okay, also look for those inversions of the chords, right? So our E minor scale but we have our E major chord right there too, so you can target notes like that. Okay, you also have E's in different spots, right here or down here. You got an E here, so you can look for all those notes. Right? So you can, utilize those chord tones. That's what you really want to do to make melodic solos, is you want to find the chord shapes inside of the scales that you're using so you can hit the target notes, and that's the notes that really sound good. So check those out, check the channel, check Papa Stash 102. There's tons of stuff like this over there too. But if you're wanting to get into that new modern kind of country soloing, or just more, sophisticated sounding blues soloing, check that stuff out. Check out Clapton, Angus, Stevie Ray, Hendrix, Van Halen, all that stuff. Wicked, David Gilmour, wicked, super awesome guitar stuff. So check it out. Yes! Way to go. If you're new, welcome. Avail yourself of all the videos. This one in particular, kind of gets us into the soloing. There's other ones down below on the channel. On this particular channel, Papa Stash 102 over there has hundreds of this kind of stuff. There's different bands, all sorts of bands over there with long extended solos and all that stuff, and then lessons like this one that we get really in depth on this kind of thing. So check that out as well. And if you're a local and you want more of this, like I said, let me know below. Also check the link down below. That'll really help explain these concepts in an in-depth video, so make sure you check that one as well. Thank you as always for checking in here at Papa Stash Pop. We'll catch you next time.